Okay, for this part, we're going to investigate how variables are seen within a function. And that is usually referred to as the scope of a variable. So let's do a first example where we're going to define main as a function. So this is typically the minimum you need to have for a procedural program to work. You need the controlling function called main. For now, I am just going to say pass. Pass simply is a no-op or no operation instruction, just so that the function has a definition. It basically does nothing. It just passes that. So if I try to run it right now, nothing will happen because I haven't called main. Let's go ahead and call it. And at minimum, this will work. And as you can see, we get nothing. Main has been called. Now let's remove pass and put something else. Let's go ahead and print hello there. Right? So if we run this again, this time instead of pass, we are actually executing that print function right here that is defined within main. Now, let's get back to what we want to do is we want to use a variable. And let's go ahead and use a variable here. Let's call it num1 and assign it a number 8. Okay? Now, if I want to print num1, that is not a problem. Num1, I can print it here, and that will be run and executed within the main function. So let's go ahead and run this. As you can see, we get 8. Now, let's say we declared num1 outside of the function definition. Let's say we put num1 equals 7. Now, notice here I am reassigning num1 to 8. So these are really two different variables. Let's see which one will it take. Let's run this. As you can see, it will take the one within the function, defined within the function. Now let's say we remove this one out. And that means we still have num1, but num1 was defined outside of the function. So it's not going to be overridden. Within this print function, it will see num1 as what we call a global variable. So this is what we call a global variable. So in other words, it can be seen by other functions. We're going to prove that in a minute. So let's go ahead and see if it can be seen by main at least. As you can see, we get 7. So now let's say we have another function. Let's call this one def test1, right? So it's simply just to see if we can see num1 from test1, right? So we're going to do this, print num1, okay? And we're going to call test1 from main, right? So we're going to remember the idea of programming now. We're going to try to call all other functions from within main. That is why main is called the controlling function. So we're going to try to organize our thoughts and ideas in a manner in which, for most of the time, not always, we're going to try to call the other functions from within main. So in our case, we're going to do test1. We're going to call it here, so we know this is a function call here within main, right? So we're calling a function within a function, right? So why? Because we've already called main. We're going to execute this. So let's write a message here and seen within main. So this will explain what we're seeing. And what we're going to see here is maybe seen within test1 as a function. And then we're going to do something like this. All right, so let's go ahead and run it and see if num1 can be seen by both of these functions. And as you can see here, 7 can be seen by main. 7 also can be seen by test1. The reason is we have declared num1 as a global variable. So it is accessible to all of them. Can we override it? Can we change num1, for example, and say num1 equals 9? So basically this is an override. Let me write it up here. Override by using a local variable. So num1 now is a local variable because we redeclare it and reassign it a value here. So it will write over what we have here. And let's go ahead and print this. Print num1's value after overriding. And let's put num1 here. And let me see here. There you go. And the reason is I removed that here. It's because then it assumes that's the end of the string. So you have to be careful. We could use an escape character to fix that. We're not doing that. So let me just clean up here. There you have it. Let's go ahead and run this. And let's see where the error is. So let's see, num1. Oh, I see. And the fact that we overridden it. Okay, let's go ahead and solve this. Let me just, for now, do this. Go back to where we were. So the moment we try to change it, let's see what happens. Now this num1 is no longer understood, so it can't override it. Do you see this, folks? So it can't even override it. That's where the problem is. So that is because now you have a local variable. So how do we solve this? We can take this line out, which means you can no longer use the global variable. And let's see what happens here. Now let's see if this will work. And there you have it. So this is num1 as a local variable. Okay, so you could rename it as num1. It has no relationship to this one. Okay, so we've seen the error and what could happen. So you have to be really, really careful how you assign your values or your variable names. So now, let's go ahead and do another variable, num2 equals 7. And let's go ahead and print num2. Okay, let's run this program again. Now, let's go back to main and try to access num2. What do you think is going to happen? Print num2. And notice right away we get a squiggly line. That is because num2 is, this is a local variable to test1, to the function test1. So it is no longer, it is not a variable name that is permissible right here unless you want to override it, which means if you want to do that, that means you're going to have to do num2 equal 3. Now this num2, let me just put num2 here. This num2 is 3. That is now this one here is a local. This is a local variable to main. So it has no relationship with num2 in test1. Let's see that. And there you have it. You get 3 there. So we're going to be investigating again local and global variables. But in the next video, we'll also investigate the use of parameters and arguments, which means we can actually supply either a value to another function for a variable or the actual reference to a variable. I will see you then.